thank you for another opportunity to serve in the capacities that you've ordained for us. We invite your presence as we begin this county council meeting, and we thank you for the meetings, the committee meetings and commission meeting that we had earlier today. We thank you for being in our presence and for just ordering our steps and bridling our tongues where needed and just guiding our thoughts so that we can be able to understand and take actions on the things that you have presented before us. As we look at the agenda that we have before us today, we ask that you help us to understand and help us to get out of ourselves and think about the people that we serve so that we can make the decisions the way that you would have us to do it. Please don't forget about our men and women who are serving in uniform, and especially those serving in harm's way. And we just thank you that our country is at peace right now, and that we will continue to be in peace with and be able to help those that are in need as you have ordained us to. These and all blessings we thank and ask in your name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
I entertain a motion to approve our agenda. So moved. I have a motion and a second to approve our agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. The agenda is approved. I have a motion to approve our minutes from our meeting that was held on September 9th.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve our minutes from our meeting on September 9th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Yes, ma'am. And Ms. Vivian recused herself because she was not here. Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda, land use matters, ordinance amendment number 2505. Ms. Rudman, this is our second reading.
Good evening, Helen Rudman for planning staff. For those of you that were here last time, I won't go through this whole thing in minute detail, but I will hit the high points. OA 2505 is an amendment to the residential development standards in the county. It touches Articles 1, 3, 4, 5, and 10. This amendment is really to clarify definitions for different housing types. It is to make clear in which districts which housing types can go and under what conditions. And it also cleans up some language about how setbacks are calculated, as well as accessory structures and buildings, in particular accessory apartments. So as I said, it makes changes concerning which districts certain housing types are permitted in and the required review process. The biggest thing and takeaway from this is that now R15 zoning only allows single-family detached dwellings as a residential use. It does not allow for any other housing types, but the other residential districts do allow certain housing types by conditional use review, in addition to several uses that are by right. It does make those changes for consistency, clarity, and ease of use, and it makes those definitions of housing types in the county parallel the definitions that we already have in the city that we updated several years ago. We do have developers that work in both communities, and it makes it easier if they are playing by the same rules in terms of how a housing unit is defined. With accessory apartments, we are making it clear what an accessory apartment is. You do have the new definition here on the screen. Essentially, an accessory apartment is a secondary dwelling unit on a property that has a single-family detached dwelling. It has size restrictions based on the home size, and we made some eliminations from first reading that you requested, so there's no longer any limitation on how many bedrooms it could have. We also defined that a duplex is 2 housing units. It's on a single parcel of land. It is under one ownership, so it's 2 dwelling units, 1 building, 1 parcel. We define what multifamily apartments are, as well as the difference between quadruplex and single-family attached. Quadruplex is rental units. Single-family attached units are basically a duplex with property lines between them, so each half of that duplex can have independent ownership. Townhomes are structures that have multiple dwelling units in them, but they're individually fee simple owned lots. And then again, triplex is 3 units, rental property. And we define building and accessory structure, and then the difference between structure, floor plan, plot plan, site plan. We add a caveat that does allow the zoning administrator to request a plot plan or a site plan for residential development when it is unclear whether a proposed addition to a property will actually fit on that parcel. So ordinarily, we don't have residential site plan review, but this does allow us to ask it if we have concerns that what's being proposed by the property owner or builder will not fit on the property. We also go from a list form of development standards to going to a tabular format, and so we're adding new tables for R15, R9, and then also R6, general residential multifamily, and then for our residential uses in commercial districts. So we'll have clear setback and development standards for each housing type that's allowed in those districts, either by right or conditionally. This is the crux of the changes where we are making amendments to what use types can go. You'll note that there is ambulance services added into this use table. We are cleaning up something that got inadvertently dropped in the previous ordinance amendment when we did that huge overhaul from SIC to NAICS. So that is not accidental. Ambulance services are being added as part of this, where they'll become conditional in professional office and neighborhood commercial, and by right in LIW, HI, and then conditional in AC. Where you see the yellow highlights on the table on the screen in the residential districts, where it's highlighted yellow and it's blank, we've removed that type of housing from that district, and where it's highlighted yellow but it's a C, it's now a conditional use in that district with review criteria that we're adding. We're also refining, clearing up language on how we figure out what setbacks are for properties. We are removing a clause that requires properties to have buildings separated by the height of the tallest structure. We're going to let building code dictate that. Otherwise, we push ourselves into a position that doesn't let us use property in an economical way. It actually pushes buildings further apart from each other when building code's established to really address that. And then from yard setbacks, we are making it clear how we're defining corner lots and setbacks. So that's what these strike-throughs are detailing here, where we talk about corner lots and through lots. And there's a lot of red that's going through here, but essentially this is simplifying the language and making it very clear how you know whether it's a front setback, side, or rear. And then we do add to the conditions and exceptions, we make it very clear that accessory apartments will be permitted on any property that has a single-family detached dwelling on it, regardless of the zoning district. So the property doesn't have to be zoned residential in order to have an accessory apartment. It simply has to have a single-family detached dwelling on the property. And then we do make some amendments on the residential accessory structure standards. And we talk about where those buildings need to be placed. This is just clarification language. And then again, clarification language on where storage buildings and garages can be located. Instead of doing these long paragraphs, we're busting it out into point by point. So it's a lot easier to understand in simple sentences instead of reading a large bulk of text. And then we're also just highlighting some things, adding some language that's not clear, putting it in a spot that makes more sense. And then we're clarifying the exemption language under the accessory structure use table for building sizes. Again, this that you see all of this red is really us taking a bunch of bulk paragraphs and we're breaking them down into easily bitten off statements, sections, so that each clause stands on its own, so we're not reading through trying to understand what it all means, in particular with accessory apartments. As you'll recall, at first reading, the council asked that we remove the maximum number of bedroom limitation from accessory apartments. So now the only thing that accessory apartments are really regulating is the maximum size of the structure. It can't be more than 40% of the ground floor area of the house or 1,000 square feet, whichever is less. Again, clarifying language by putting it in bulleted language where we talk about stockyards and slaughterhouses. These are also accessory uses. Same thing with swimming pools, satellite dishes. And then we make some clarifications on commercial accessory structures in the site plan review process. Again, this is all language that over the years we've thought very cumbersome. We're just trying to make clarifications for ease of use. Same thing with agricultural buildings. We add conditional use review criteria for townhouse dwellings. That's what you see listed on the screen here. And then also for single-family attached dwellings, which are those basically 2 dwelling unit buildings that have a property line between them. And the same thing with duplexes, triplex, and quadruplex structures. Planning Commission does recommend approval of this request, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, and I don't think it took 30 minutes.
Any questions of Ms. Rubin?
Move for approval.
No, prior to council taking action on second reading, we will have a public hearing. I declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak to council concerning this ordinance amendment, please proceed to the podium. State your name for the record. Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we have second reading on ordinance amendment number 2505. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Second reading passes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 251034, private road policies. This will be a third and final reading with a public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, as you indicated, ordinance number 251034 will adopt the procedures and policies for Sumter County roads. It's a small book, 25 pages, and there are no changes since second reading with the exception of some input from the stormwater director. He asked that we include a reference to stormwater utilities in the deeds that convey easements and right-of-way for deeds that come in for new roads, when we're accepting new roads that are being built to standards. Those roads are supposed to be deeded, and he wanted to include, make sure that the utility easements were included in that. And he also wanted to have, in addition to a plot plan or layout, they also include as-built drawings so that his staff will know where the actual pipes and things are. So those were included. Other than that, there are no substantive changes since second reading.
One question, Mr. Chairman. In the addition, you just mentioned the easements, stormwater easements and all. That's not going to include retention ponds, right?
No. For example, when you see a subdivision plat, oftentimes they'll have a little easement running very close to, or sometimes straddling a property line. And Mr. Congress just want to make sure that people understood that when the roads are deeded to Sumter County, those easements that are shown on the plat will also be deeded to Sumter County so that the county has the right to go on to those easements to do, so that his staff can do its work without interference. It also gives him more credibility, for lack of a better expression, with the property owners, if the property owners attempt to build on top of a stormwater or drainage easement.
Any other questions, comments? Before I open public hearing, I'd like to make a statement for clarification purposes. With the passing of the capital penny sales tax, there was a list of county dirt roads that are going to be paved as a result of the penny for progress passing. When those roads are paved, those roads will be removed from the county's routine maintenance, which will allow us to adopt some more roads to be maintained. And what we're trying to do is, and we're the only county in the state of South Carolina that is doing this, we are changing the ordinance so that we can adopt some private roads, and there'll be a long procedure which will be published to go along with that to be approved. And the purpose for this is for the emergency egress and access for emergency vehicles and other type of delivery vehicles and that type of things. But I want to make sure that it is understood that these roads will not be paved. They will be maintained as dirt roads as our other county dirt roads. So I just wanted to make that clear. Any other comments from council? With that being said, the public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this ordinance, please step to the podium and state your name for the record.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. My name is Frances Bennett, and I live at 6720 Glover Lane. And I just had one question, and I heard about the easement and the utilities and stuff like that. Is that the water lines and phone lines and all that stuff? Is that included in what you're talking about?
It will be, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I thank you, and it doesn't bother me that all the roads will not be paved, because I live on one that it doesn't matter about the pavement. I just want to be able to get in and out without tearing up my car.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you
Understood.
very much.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Anyone else? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Mr. Pleasure, council.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve third reading on ordinance number 251034. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Ordinance number 251034 passes 5-2.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I could just say that this is a historic day for Sumter County. 35 years ago, the county decided that it would not accept any more roads into the system, and folks who had dirt roads were told that they could now have their own private roads. And unfortunately, the maintenance piece did not accompany that. And it has taken the courage of this council in 2025 to redirect that original position. And it was done out of love and kindness for the constituents and citizens of this county. And I must say that I am proud of the work that this council has done on this issue on behalf of the residents who do not have the same advantage that other residents have for ingress and ingress from their homes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Next item on the agenda, ordinance number 251035, first reading. Mr. Bryant.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, a gentleman named Adam Bryant wants to buy 3.95 acres of a property for $1,000 an acre. He's offering $4,000 for the whole thing. He owns the adjoining property, and he bought the adjoining property for, actually, it's a total of 131.4 acres, and he spent $130,000 for those two tracts. So he spent about $1,000 an acre for those adjoining tracts. So that's how he came up with this price. It's an abandoned sewer lagoon, as we understand. It's landlocked. County doesn't really have any use for it. So staff recommends you accept his offer.
Move for approval of first reading. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve first reading on ordinance number 251035. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. First reading passes. Come now to committee reports. First committee that was held today was Public Works Committee. Mr. Baker?
Yes, we did make, and I think going over the final procedure of how to apply for getting your road accepted into the county system. I'm gonna let Carlton, the councilman from Rembert, speak on this.
Wow.
Thank you, Councilman from Dazzell. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with you on this issue, as well as the rest of council. And I'll just say that the work that we've done here has been excellent work. There will be a process that citizens will have to go through to get their private roads addressed, and it begins with the pre-application process. Then it will move to a council pre-application review. Then it will go to a resident's final application completion process. County Council will have the final application review, and then we will deal with the funding. So it will be a 5-step process. There is a schedule that staff will be releasing that will identify the pressure points and times that citizens will need to engage in the process. Just so everyone will understand, when a road has been identified to be dealt with, it will require all the residents on that road to agree to participate in the program. They will have to sign over their portion of the road to the county, because it is illegal for Sumter County to perform work on private property. So it will require some work on behalf of those citizens who live on those roads. Council has prepared itself to go through that process, and we're extremely happy to be in the space that we're in. And what I'm even more proud of is that Sumter County is the only county in the state that has taken this on. So we are first, and we all, council members and citizens, ought to be proud of the work that we're attempting to do together. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Land Use Committee meeting, Mr. Edens.
Land Use Committee met, and we were presented by Ms. Rudman proposed changes to the landscaping standards of Sumter County. And after much discussion, we decided we needed a couple more weeks to study it, and she will bring it back at our next meeting. I think it's 3 weeks, whenever our next meeting is, for another committee meeting for more discussion and possible decision on whether to send it to planning or not. We also discussed allowance of RV and boat storage in the AC zoning district, and we directed staff to bring back some recommendations for this proposal. And that's all, no action.
Thank you, Mr. Edens. County Council did hold a special meeting today. We did go into executive session to hear some comments and talk about some legal matters. No action was taken once we came out of executive session. Are there any reports from council members on any other meetings, trainings, or conferences?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Scott.
Good evening. For the benefit of council and our citizens, at the North Hope Center this Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., they will have a Toastmasters Sumter Community House opening. So if you want to come and to see about starting a Toastmaster class or group at your church or organization or community group, that will be at the North Hope Center this Saturday from 2 o'clock to 3:30. So it's an open house, so please come out. Look forward to seeing you there.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Washington.
There is a very interesting project going on now in District 1. As you know, District 1 is void of many of the facilities that are inside the city, but we've been able to arrange with the Sumter School District an opportunity for rural residents to walk at the Hillcrest Middle School track on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Our sheriff's department will be patrolling the area, and of course, staff members are on site as well, so it is a safe environment. The program has been in place going on its 3rd week, and we're getting good participation. And we're very, very pleased that once again, as we did on the millage request, we're able to work with the Sumter School District on necessary things for our community. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Anyone else? Hearing none, come now to the county administrative report. Mr. Mixon?
No report, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Come now to the public comment portion of our agenda. Citizens desiring to speak will have 3 minutes to speak. The council, please address your comments to the chairman. Anyone wishing to speak to council, please proceed to the podium and state your name for the record. Public comment is now open. Seeing none, public comment is closed.
Move for adjournment.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that we adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We adjourn. Thank you, everyone, for coming.